And that is question 13, Dr. Mashazi. It starts at your page 24. This is in regard to Chief Mapiea's suspension on 25th September 2024. And in particular, it invites you to provide the reasons, basis, and necessity thereof, including factors taken into consideration in suspending him. That's on the one hand. You are further requested to provide all council resolutions concerning the allegations of sexual harassment against a fellow officer leveled against Chief Mapiea and the subsequent disciplinary processes initiated on 20 November 2024. That's quite a compound question. You respond quite extensively to that question, starting from your paragraph 144 to 167. Before we get to your answer, I would like to refer you to Chief Mapiea's statement, because I have a request to make to you.
Page.
Yes, I'm going to take you to the page. And page 30 of Mapiea. And under a heading titled Laying of Trumped Up Charges Against Me, he deals with this issue of his suspension from paragraph 112 to 115. So technically in 4 paragraphs. And I want you to satisfy yourself that in dealing with his suspension and the basis thereof, he does not mention any names of any ladies affected by the charges brought against him. And he did so deliberately. And I will confirm that in his oral testimony, he also did not mention any names. And insofar as I'm concerned, I think that's an appropriate approach. The issues that are sought to be interrogated can be so interrogated without naming names. I see in your statement, however, you introduce the victim's name or victims' names. And I reference you Chief Mapiea's statement and also his testimony to implore you to resist the urge to mention the specific people by name, but otherwise you may deal with your response in its entirety. As I understand, one or some of them may be mothers and wives, and perhaps to avoid unnecessary embarrassment, whether to themselves directly, their families, or their children, to suggest that we can deal with the issues without mentioning their names. They are in your statement, and if you agree with my proposition, then their names will be duly redacted from your statement. Are we able to approach the matter on that basis?
Agreed.
Thank you. Then you may address the questions posed to you. You start at paragraph 144 to page 167. And I invite you to deal with those questions in the manner that is most comfortable for you. Thank you.
Okay. The first question is about the victim that submitted a formal complaint to me containing extremely serious allegations of sexual harassment, coercion, intimidation, and abuse of authority by the Chief of Police. Upon receiving this complaint, I immediately forwarded the matter to the executive mayor of the city of Ekurhuleni. And in terms of the processes of the city, my report to the executive mayor must be accompanied by this formal complaint and a report. Or the report must include the formal complaint as an attachment, which I did. The complaint came to me, I think, in July. 2024. I struggled to convince the executive mayor to entertain the report, as I believe that the report has serious misconduct against a senior official. And it is my responsibility as an accounting officer in terms of the code of conduct of senior managers that should I become aware of any misconduct, I should immediately report to council, which I did. But the process of reporting to council, I must first go through the mayoral committee, and I was blocked. I received a complaint in July. I thought this report would serve in the mayoral committee end of July. Unfortunately, I was blocked. And I tried again in August to submit the report to the mayoral committee. The first time, it was never even entertained. The second time, the mayor was in Cape Town, and there was acting mayor, and he said he'd rather wait for the mayor to address the issue. Then before, because I had the pressure of dealing with this, because I'm supposed to deal with this matter within a specific period, I decided to take the report straight to council, because the legislation does allow that if you are blocked by the executive, the responsibility of disciplining senior managers lies squarely on council. Then I took the report straight to council. Unfortunately, there was a backlash. Council could not accept the report. They had to take the report back to the mayoral committee, for mayoral committee to consider the report. Before the consideration of the report, I was called by the mayor and the MMC Finance, and a guy called Absalom Budeli from ANC, indicating that I should stop the process of disciplining or of serving the report to council about the misconduct, the sexual harassment misconduct of Mr. Mapiyeya. In that meeting, they also suggested that I should take special leave, that is from end of September until December. And then after December, the mayor would consider paying me out the remainder of the term according to my retirement age. In that meeting, I indicated to them that, and MMC Finance specifically said, I undermined their authority as leadership of the ANC, and they're in charge of council. I undermined their authority by taking the report direct to council. And in my response, I indicated that you guys frustrated me for 2 months, and this is a pressing matter. The subordinate in question is working in the office of the chief of police. And for us to protect the subordinate and to actually address the matter properly, we need to go through to council and ensure that council satisfies itself and determine whether the chief of police should be put on precautionary suspension or the chief of police should be disciplined. The meeting didn't end well, and I refused to take special leave. I indicated to the executive mayor that I'm retiring end of July, and I will not take any leave. I'm going to work, continue to work, but I agree with you that you need changes, and I will.
Dr. Mashazi, at a convenient point, perhaps not more than a sentence, can you please stop? We need to deal with something.
Okay.
Yeah. Can we stop at this point?
Agreed.
Or may we stop at this point?
Agreed, Chair.
All right. We'll come back when, maybe 5 minutes, give or take.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair.
Children, but I do love learning. Ngiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 19 December.
The Buccaneers believe they are unstoppable and will walk away as champions. However, Bahlabani Bantwa plan to reveal their secret game plan on match day. This is the Carling Knockout Final. Witness Orlando Pirates versus Marumo Gallants on Saturday, 6 December at 5 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC One. Then at 6 p.m. on SABC radio stations. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.2 FM in Table Mountain.
Top stories. Dr. Mashazi admits irregularities on Mkwanazi's appointment and motion of no confidence against Morero withdrawn. For SAFM News, I'm Ondelambana, and a very good day. Retired city manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi has admitted that Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi's appointment as acting police chief was irregular. The appointment of Mkwanazi to act in the position in the Guruleni Metro Police Department was made in May last year. However, Mashazi has explained herself, stating that she was on leave and therefore not the person who approved his appointment. Mashazi's evidence before the Madlanga Commission is being led by Advocate Mahlape Sillo.
I just want to test, are you aware of the principle that when you are on leave and you delegate your powers to somebody, you retain the responsibility for actions exercised in your name by that acting appointee? Are you aware of that principle?
I am aware.
On the basis of that principle, are you willing to accept the responsibility for this, what now appears to be an irregular appointment?
I do accept.
In news just in, the motion of no confidence vote against City of Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has been withdrawn. The motion was brought by smaller political parties within the Joburg Council, including Al-Jama, UDM, and the African Transformation Movement. It had been scheduled to be heard during today's council sitting in Braamfontein. Hawk Surgeon Papite and Tembisa Hospital official Zakaria Chisele have been granted 5,000 rand bail each by the Pretoria Magistrates Court. Both accused are facing charges of corruption after they allegedly attempted to bribe a Hawks officer working on the ongoing Tembisa Hospital investigations. They were arrested last week after paying a bribe of 100,000 rand to the investigating officer who had planned to arrest them as soon as the transaction was completed. Magistrate Obrim Pahlele ruled that it is in the interest of justice that they be released on bail.
There is nothing that has been placed before this court to suggest you will attempt to intimidate or influence witnesses in the event of bail being granted. There is also nothing to suggest you will jeopardize the objectives of the criminal justice system in the event of bail being granted. There is also nothing to suggest your release on bail will jeopardize public order. The fact that the prosecution is not opposing your release on bail is in my view, a concession. None of the factors listed in section 60, subsection 4A to E of the Criminal Procedure Act number 51/1977 is present in this matter.
The Senzo trial has adjourned till tomorrow to allow counsels to deal with new developments in the matter. This follows disruptions at the High Court in Pretoria after some men that arrived with defense counsel Fiso Gwabini Zungu were removed from court by the police. It remains unclear the reasons behind this as all court officials discuss the matter in chambers, prompting the early adjournment.
Based on the discussions in chambers, then this matter stand down until tomorrow.
Is it to the court, Madam? I confirm the arrangement.
Yeah.
So confirm the arrangement.
Right. Apparently, it's an agreement between the court and counsels that the matter should stand now until tomorrow. Some problems which will be ironed out.
There's good news for Itala depositors who have been unable to access their funds from the institution since January 2025. National Treasury has announced that it will make up to 2.2 billion rand available to enable the repayment of Itala Bank depositors. This follows consultation with the KwaZulu-Natal government. The payout process is set to begin on Monday next week. FNB, which has been appointed as the bank that will make payouts, will reach out to Itala recipients via SMS. Recipients are not required to open a bank account with FNB if they don't already have one. Itala recipients have until 2028 to get their money back through this process. Recapping the top story, retired City Manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi has admitted that Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi's appointment as acting police chief was irregular. I am Ndalambana for SAFM News Headlines at 1:30.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Alrighty. Good morning. Wait, it's not even the morning. It is the afternoon. Good afternoon to you. I hope you are doing good. It is the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, coming to you from the SABC. We've got a short but punchy show today, as per usual. We're going to bring you a recap of what's been happening at the Madlanga Commission. Today is day 2 of that testimony being given by Dr. Imogen Mashazi. Lots to talk about what's been shared so far this morning. And I think the most obvious observation for us South Africans who've been watching is the shift in energy from yesterday. The good doctor today looks like she wants to play ball a little bit better than she did yesterday. No doubt a lot of your comments on social media probably reached her eyes and ears. And it was a very unflattering day, an unkind day by way of public perception. So we're going to have that conversation with Usibahle Mota. We also are going to be looking at health and wellness. Today is Tuesday, and we're looking at how technology eases the burden for 4.2 million South Africans that are living with diabetes. So we're going to have that conversation and also continue along the theme of 16 days of activism against violence on women and children. So we're going to be in touch with the National Shelter Movement of South Africa around that. And because we are who we are, a day cannot go past without us touching on something a little bit artsy, a little bit cultural. So for stages, pages, screens, and more today, we're looking at the exhibition Motions of the Sun. Let's take a quick pause and then we'll be right back on the other side of this.
Streaming Skim Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into ifunayo. Your shows, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Every day.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, let's get on with it. Especially Mota joining us now, SABC News reporter. And we're looking at day 2 of the former Ekurhuleni city manager, Dr. Imogen Mashazi's testimony, which is continuing this morning. And then, of course, later on in the day, we're also anticipating Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, or suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, to come to the commission and detail the events as laid out by General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, and of course, give us the rebuttal of all of that. Sbahle, how are you doing today?
Good afternoon to you, Bridget, and the listeners, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for the time, much appreciated. So it is day 2, and I got to watch a little bit in the morning from when the commission commenced at 9:30. And let's start, before we even start with the testimony, let's start with what preoccupied South Africans yesterday. If you were on social media tracking the Madlanga Commission yesterday, then you know, a lot of people, and we spoke about it, observed just the demeanor of Dr. Imogen Mashazi, the way in which she physically presented herself, her physical responses to a lot of the question, her facial expressions. And South Africans were very much preoccupied about that yesterday. I think it even overshadowed a lot of what she was saying.
No, definitely, Bridget, and I mean, I think we even spoke about this yesterday. How, you know, she looked bored, how she would tilt her head and just lean on her hand when doing that, how she would use her head to nod instead of reading the response to the record. I mean, it was just such a mess yesterday because she believed one was, I'm interested in this entire process and that about her conduct, you know, saying that day and giving information, you know, this regard. I mean, are you actually interested in being here? And it is so much. So I think her demeanor has definitely changed. Otherwise, with people, I think because of the position, so many people. But unfortunately, this is what South Africa.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get on to this morning's testimony, a recap of what's been discussed so far.
So I think when we arrived at the commission this morning, a video from Ethics News was commission that was presented by Dr. Masaki in during the commission state by ENC. So he has gotten into he was driving this. So her and not make it feel like it's on because obviously that's what we didn't heard from the ENCP post it presented as a story. And again, Commissioner we knew about all these, we knew about the sexual harassment case, the Mira case. There's also a case of rape too, and to make it speak to one citizen came. We even asked if he has been using it in his because now he has been raped, so now he's been suspended. So I think when you saw the whole or the picture of the whole we've seen as well as
I mean, there was a lot of pressing this morning about her inaction in as far as those possible suspensions or the moments to possibly suspend or investigate. And eventually she had to concede that, in fact, she did nothing, and it would have come across as though she was shielding the chief to some degree.
no, definitely. I mean, if you remember, 30 minutes before the meeting, well, serious allegations regarding this real life trauma, which is opened like the Pandora's box to other allegations that have been raised police
Mm.
there's some image regarding those allegations.
There was a question this morning that was asked by Commissioner Madlanga, and I guess I'm paraphrasing to some degree, but he almost called her to answer for why does it seem that everything they're asking her in as far as her knowledge of certain situations, certain events, her inaction with certain things, why does it seem that with everything she seems to say, I was not aware. I was not aware, and it almost speaks to the sense of, and I think he even did, say, Kuti, for an accounting officer, you seem to not be aware of anything.
No, definitely, Bridget, we are seeing that she chooses to answer to say that we remember now the case of the wrong remember. So it seems like it's a strategy from her side, so she tries not to implicate her in how commission of its findings.
I mean, not only does it show that she's not a willing witness, especially, it almost leaves the perception or enforces the perception that South Africans already have about, leaders in these institutions at these different tiers of government, that it's either they are complicit to things or they are in the positions, but really just coasting along and not doing much. Because from her, if that's her strategy, she's certainly coming across as somebody who was not participating in her responsibilities or engaging and discharging her responsibilities. She was just kind of there, drawing a salary.
No, definitely. And I think, especially with the sexual harassment allegations, I mean, maybe, you know, truthfully so good. To empower them, and she was not actually dealing with the perpetrators. violent crime, sexual offenses against women. Shows there's a lack of accountability in the system of the community. Shows that most of the people
So after lunch, when we come back, it is the much anticipated first appearance of the suspended Minister Senzo Mkunu.
Yes, definitely. And I think what we can about his alleged working with all the he's been implicated in his relationship with them. Daily to the bottom.
Do you think that his appearance here at the Malanga Commission, in as far as his testimony and evidence, is going to be quite different from what we saw at the ad hoc? And I ask this because a lot of South Africans also observing part of the parallel conversation in all of this is that obviously at the Malanga Commission, evidence is being led by experienced advocates who do this for a living, and so their line of questioning, their line of follow up, seems to be a bit more extensive than the ad hoc, for instance, and a lot of people saying even at the ad hoc committee, they wish that the advocates were the ones leading those discovery conversations at the ad hoc. And I wonder, in a situation like that, can we anticipate that maybe there might even be slight differences in his responses when being interrogated by seasoned, experienced advocates and evidence leaders?
No, definitely. I think I'm quite optimistic regarding that, because I mean, I've seen how Edward Messi Shackleton ran circles around Brown Mofoti, and I've seen what, Edward Messi, they are trained, they've been doing this for years. I think we can expect, they respond to for because of sort of their, their experience and years of doing this. I'm optimistic and continuing.
Sibashle Mota, thank you so much for the time. Sibashle is SABC News reporter. It's just gone 20 past 1 o'clock. We're going to hit a quick pause and then we come back on the other side and we focus on things health and wellness.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio drama series Skyline.
Search cockpit medical emergency now.
Cabin crew to your stations.
Where the skies promise adventure, but behind the cabin doors, untold secrets are found.
Signing off on cheap parts they installed like it's nothing.
Catch the radio drama series every Saturday at 9 p.m. on SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Alrighty, we are looking at technology and how that eases the burden for 4.2 million South Africans that are living with diabetes. And we know that the numbers of those diagnosed with diabetes continues to rise. And it's beyond the medical challenges. Many patients are also carrying the daily mental load of just having to plan their lives and lifestyles around their diabetes. Meal planning, for instance, monitoring one's blood sugar, and the constant worry of those unexpected fluctuations as well in all those levels. And so we thought we'd catch up with Susan Snell, who's a near patient sub-chapter lead for Roche Diagnostics, and we're looking at how technology can perhaps be an intervention here. How are you doing this afternoon, Susan?
To you, Bridget. I'm well, thank you.
Thank you so much for the time. I mean, let's first maybe just understand how technology becomes a powerful tool and resource in the broader medical sector, and then specific to those that are diagnosed and having to manage diabetes.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question, and often we think about technology as something that is really quite complicated or, or difficult to understand, I think that what we're seeing is trying to simplify and reduce the mental load that very often that we deal with on a daily basis. Technology is becoming the enabler to simplify what is going on in our body and help us understand that.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen the latest development and the sort of the wave of AI and AI powered applications and such interventions. Is AI finding a growing role as well in diabetes, and how is it actually being implemented for the management of diabetes?
Absolutely, absolutely. And a great example of that is actually in health. So, previously, and sort of the first advancement, we say, move away from finger prick analysis to blood glucose. Sorry. And we now have technology that is a sensor that is placed on your upper arm that would allow you to see of what your sugar levels were doing. So this is the first step in terms of enabling how more burden of the people. Now, around the building AI algorithms that can be predict, but not only tell you what your glucose level is now, so what it has, predict areas for a person living with diabetes, what glucose is likely to do. And as
I mean, that's interesting. So this continuous glucose monitoring, and you guys refer to it as CGM, if I understand correctly. It has sort of predictive ability for folks with diabetes, and what does that do for one the mental aspect of diabetes when you're able to some degree get the data that tells you what your situation is going to maybe be like in the next coming days?
exactly right. So what this does is, and maybe to take like one of the biggest fears and say that mental burden, one of the biggest fears that people living with diabetes have is getting a low blood glucose, right? Massive implications in terms of cognitively when sugar goes low. And you can imagine just trying to get through a normal day when your sugar is running well and within range, but now having to start driving, take kids from school, or going into a meeting, you run the risk of having a low glucose. You are going to find it really, really difficult. And never mind that it could be dangerous to yourself and others, and ultimately lead into a really serious event required hospitalization. So one of these predictive algorithms that the AI has been trained to do is to be able to give patients an idea of their risk of going low in the next 40 minutes. But then also at bedtime, their risk of low during the night. And so, again, to answer what it means for them to you can go to bed and just peaceful night sleep. You know, not having to worry, do I need to do I need to get ready in case I wake up? So it really is showing to help alleviate some of that fear, that stress, that comes with the worries about saying no.
Mm.
It then also can help with other daily calculations you have to make. If you know what your sugar is going to be doing in the next 2 hours, which is another algorithm that can give you 2 hours.
Mm.
So it's to be able to make different decisions with that information.
Yeah.
It's really enhanced. And so what we see in patients, or the feedback patients are giving us, is that more confidence. Seeing it, knowing where it's going to go, gives them the confidence to walk into that meeting and know I'm good next hour and I'm going to smash.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit in our final moments, Susan, around accessibility and affordability of these new technologies for diabetes patients, because we also know the socio-economic environment that a lot of South Africans contend with. So we can almost render an educated guess that there's a large number of those diagnosed with diabetes that are living below the poverty line or just making ends meet.
Yeah, yeah. And the good news there is that technology around for a little bit longer than the AI predicted analytics, right? So that doesn't necessarily top line. And so the good thing about having the sense longer they're around, the cheaper we can then manufacture them, the broader we can get their reach out to more people across the globe, the better it's going to be. So on that front, it's really great to see the progress that's been made to create stakeholders, government, advocacy groups, people living with diabetes themselves, advocating to activists, goal to, as you say, eventually to think technology should replace what I think the sector is doing today for many South Africans.
Yeah.
It's a journey. It's a, it's not going to happen overnight. It's pulling in the right direction, and I think that's a really positive sign.
Wonderful. Susan Snell, thank you so much for the time. And Susan is the near patient subchapter lead, rather, for Roche Diagnostics. It's 1:30. It's time to catch up with Ondelambana and the headline news, and then we'll come back on the other side and look at 16 days of activism.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, the KwaZulu-Natal government says it has made major inroads in combating disruptions by the construction mafia over the past year. Retired City Manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi has admitted that Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi's appointment as acting police chief was irregular, and the motion of no confidence vote against City of Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has been withdrawn. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
Every day, women in South Africa live in fear. Fear of violence from men, fear for their lives.
We together can change that. It stops when we speak up, when we call out a friend's sexist joke, when we challenge an abusive uncle, when we reject, not excuse, harmful behavior.
Let us stand together. It is time for Africa to rise, for men to step up and be the change. By choosing respect even when unseen, ending GBVF is not women versus men. It's all of us against the problem.
Together, we can end gender-based violence and femicide.
This message is brought to you by the GBVF Response Fund, proudly supported by the SABC.
I don't love going to school. I don't love sitting in a classroom with 50 other children. But I do love learning. Ndiyakuthanda ukufunda isiXhosa as a language. I do love getting good grades. I do love UCT Online High School because I do love my future. Apply online before 19 December.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, Reach out, because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC.
All righty. It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM. Janine Horn is joining us in conversation next. Janine is the board member at the National Shelter Movement of South Africa. And we're having a conversation around 16 days of activism against women and children. And the 2025 global theme for the 16 days is Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls. And of course, South Africa running a parallel campaign as well with the theme Litsima, men, women, boys, and girls working together to end gender based violence and femicide. How are you doing this afternoon, Janine?
So much. Thank you so much for having me, Bridget, and your listeners.
Thank you for the time. We appreciate it. I mean, let's begin with the fact that this is an annual campaign, domestically, internationally, 16 days of activism. And the unfortunate part is, no matter how many times we drum on about uh, the desperate nature of this situation, particularly in South Africa. Every year, 16 days of activism comes through, and every year we're bombarded with data that is far more horrific than the year before.
Correct. And we understand that 16 days has created awareness and this heightened movement and almost this an uprising during this time. We really believe the 365 South Africans live through shapes and forms of GBV. So the system of not enough to replace around daily occurrence. The multiple times that a woman and a girl child, and yes, LGBTQ, even some men experience. So we are wanting to raise and address this to the party to agreeing with us and concurring with us. However, we need urgent action on an ongoing prevention. Our shelters and our safe houses are flooded with requests for help. They are underfunded, under-resourced. Yes, while government has increased the funding made available, has enhanced all of that. The crisis remains real, and we need how we can help, how we can create more awareness, how we can create more shelters, and how we can put women and girl children at the shelters. So more finding awareness and just that.
Yeah, and as such, the National Shelter Movement of South Africa is demanding more than words. And as you've just said, that enough is not enough. When we began 16 days of activism, I was at the tail end of a local beauty pageant, Miss Soweto. And every year I come out of that pageant interviewing the 20 girls in the semi-final round, and I come on and we prepare for 16 days of activism, which happens literally the day after. And I often say that it is a painful reminder sitting in those conversations, because from the 20 girls, 13, if not 14, 15 of them are survivors. are in situations where they are being beaten, being abused, being raped, being assaulted, situations that are currently happening in their households by familial members, fathers, brothers, uncles, stepfathers, neighbors. And so it's just that brutal reminder that behind the statistics there are names and there are faces, and oftentimes it is the youngest of the communities that are at the tail end of this brutality.
Yes, so that is our job as the National Shelter Movement, is to create safe houses because our victims aren't safe in their homes. And those are ludicrously alarming, almost non-acceptable. And it's no longer non-acceptable, it's a non-negotiable that this national disaster needs attention. And of the ongoing multiple times, the lived experience of our victims and our survivors is what we're calling for. And so if there is a tick box approach, economic awareness is a tick box. We're beyond it. We're reducing the stigma. This is not organizations, civil societies. Comes how victims will be ahead for support. I mean, we sat at the fifth annual in Durban recently. The lack of these high institutions, officials, so far removed from them. And we want to make it real. We want to make it a real conversation. Healthy masculinity. We need our parliamentarians and our ministers and our president to promote, to have campaigns, to have men and boy children are taught healthy masculinity. We challenge patriarchy, we challenge norms, and we support victims in a better manner. And then beyond that, how do we start to turn these steps around? What would be the real disruptor? We're calling for a disruption of norms at this.
Absolutely. Janine, as we wind down on our conversation, I just want to just hop a little on something. When oftentimes we say because these government officials and people who interface with victims are so far removed, but really, if we're to look at 3 degrees of separation and apply stats to it, not so far removed. We can render a guess that within their own homes, within their own circles, somebody is dealing with GBV or someone has experienced femicide. And so it's something familiar. I think we just live in a state of denial and desensitization as a society.
Absolutely. And so the desensitization stops today. It stops now. Almost a heightened sensitivity. And you're absolutely right. This stark reality that with one in three women and one in three girls. Really deeply, and alarmingly high. How can we as a country how can we as a presidential or as a presidency the norm? Why does it take women marching on the 21st of November to make a statement of the woman in change had capitalized? Why does it take such mass uproar when we're saying it should be so hypersensitized that no place to take action on this natural disaster, on this norm, how to turn around how boy children behave, how males respond, how we see DDD as a and so that is what we're calling for. We're calling for support, calling for action, want to make the helpline, the 24 helpline, known to everybody. Um, we want to tell survivors. We want to tell our houses and shelters. We have hope, and based on our uproar, based on our awareness, and based on our collective pride, you have hope. So seek help. Don't stay quiet. The more we talk about this, the more we scream about it from the rooftop, the more we make victims, survivors understand that they have to, and that
Yeah.
they have us behind them, and that as a nation we all join around in the same boat.
Absolutely. Janine, we have to leave it there for this moment. But as we transition to my next guest, if I could just ask my producers to put you on hold and we can get the confirmation of the 24-hour helpline, and then we will pass it on to our listeners as well. That was Janine Horn, board member at the National Shelter Movement of South Africa. Let's take a quick pause.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365, Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
All right, stages, pages, screens, and more. And we're looking at the exhibition Motions of the Sun. And Viv Kliko brings Emotions of the Sun to Cape Town, showcasing a global photographic exhibition with Magnum Photos. We've got Brune Fallio joining us now, who's the Global Communication Culture and Digital Director. How are you doing this afternoon?
Inviting me.
Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it. Tis the time to be popping bubbles, no doubt. So December makes for a great time for us to also indulge in all things arts and culture via this exhibition. Tell us a bit more about your involvement in the exhibition Motions of the Sun.
So yeah, it was pleasure. Well, Emotion of the Sun is, like you said, an immersive and cultural experience that we, Vaflico, created with Magnum Photo and 8 of their most world-renowned photographers. And the brief we gave them was very simple. It was actually a carte blanche with one question: is what emotions does the sun bring you? Them, and by them I mean Steve McCurry, Alex Webb, Christina Demidel, or Linda Sebekwa from South Africa, came back with a series of 5 exclusive photos, which, when we put them all together, gave birth to this unprecedented exhibition that we first opened in Milan last year, then to New York, and we're very happy and thrilled to be opening Emotions of the Sun in Cape Town this summer.
Yeah. How does this exhibition, Brune, how does this exhibition reflect the brand's solar identity and, of course, your 250-year heritage?
Absolutely. And you're right. You mean when you talk about solar identity, the sun has always been part of the Flico's identity. When you look at the bottle of the Flico, what do you see first? You see a yellow label, and this yellow color, the color of the sun. And it was opposed on our bottle back in 1877. So you can see that we have a long-standing history with the color and with the sun. And so the sun for us is like a creative muse. It really tells us, what to do when we want to talk about joy, optimism, audacity. And this is really what we wanted to tell through the lenses of those 8 photographers.
Let's talk a little as well about the 8 photographers' diverse perspectives and the emotional power, or rather how they bring that emotional power of the sun to life via their work.
So again, for us, it was a carte blanche. So it's really their own interpretation of what the sun can bring in terms of optimism, energy. And if you take the example of Steve McCurry, this world-renowned American photographer, he decided to go to Japan because he was really inspired by the light on the Mount Fuji in Tokyo, and so he spent a few days there just to capture the light of the sun there. I take the example of Lindo Sobekwa, so from South Africa. For him, he wanted with the sun and with this area photo to celebrate the springtime in South Africa. So he captured those wonderful blossoming flowers that you have here, and the joy of people in a very, very colorful and poetic way. So each of them was really, giving a personal view on the sun and what it brings to our life.
Mm. And just lastly, the importance as well to engage with local creative communities, particularly in markets like South Africa and other markets where the brand has a strong prominence.
Yeah, so Vaptico has always been really keen to support creative minds and to collaborate with creative minds. I think it all comes from Madame Clico's spirit. At first, she was a real creative, and she really thought that every new day could bring new opportunities. And we think that through the eyes of creative talent, it's also a positive vision of the world that we want to convey. And for us, we are a global brand. We are, distributed in many countries, but for us, the cultural relevance, the local relevance is so important. We want to show and we want to convey cultural diversity in all manners. And for us, also being in Cape Town, it's such a creative city, vibrant city was super important for us. And I don't know if you know, but Mexico and South Africa have a long-standing history because the first bottles were shipped in 1877. So for us, it was all natural to celebrate the country and be here with emotions of the sun.
I mean, wonderful. It sounds like a great collaboration indeed. And thank you to you guys for bringing it to Cape Town and making Cape Town your next stop. Brune, we appreciate the time. That was Brune Fallio, Viv Clicquot, Global Communication, Culture, and Digital Director. And that exhibition is opening at Youngblood Gallery on Bree Street from the 4th until the 21st of December. So you can catch it if you happen to be in Cape Town. It's gone 10 to. It's time for us to get into Kids Corner.
EFC is live this Thursday. In a division that has produced more global superstars than any other, a four-way Grand Prix will decide the next warriors to battle for the flyweight throne. It's Zondi versus Kamana and Manumala versus Ngamantwini. EFC 130, live from the World Sports Betting Arena. Watch it on SABC Sport Channel on DTT Channel 4 from 7 p.m. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
5 teams, one epic journey. No flights, no smartphones, just grit, maps, and pure determination. Race Across the World Season 3 is back, and the stakes have never been higher. From bustling cities to remote villages, who will conquer the chaos and cross the finish line first? Thursdays at 6 p.m. only on S3.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Dwana, tulam dwana, tulu mama, uzabuya, uzabuya, na maswede, tulam, tulam dwana, tulam dwana, tulu mama, uzobuya, uzobuya, maswete, tula. Mama, Baba, uzobuya, maswete, Sikwanza naboni saluchamba saluchamba jalo chamba jalo chamba jalo chamba Namagunzi, 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 namagunzi. Shalatambe, 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 shalatambe.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Alrighty, that is Tembanjalo is the name of the song as we prepare for the top of the hour news. The Brendan Tambone Madlanga Commission has just disorientated us a little bit. They hardly ever do this, so we forgive them when it happens. I think they wanted to wrap up with Dr. Imogen Mashazi so that they could have a clean wrap and begin with their next witness. And of course, we know that the second witness of the day is suspended police minister Senzo Mkhunu was set to come through at 2 o'clock after their 1 o'clock break, but they went into the break a little bit late this afternoon, anticipating that they're probably going to resume closer to 2:30 or on the other side of 2:30. So we're just rejigging ourselves on this side to accommodate that slight change. And then, but we'll still bring you the news at the top of the hour, so no need to worry about that. Regarding our first our last conversation that we had with the National Shelter Movement of South Africa, we wanted to give to you that 24-hour helpline, which is 0800 101 005. So 0800 001 005, and that is the SA National Helpline if you are a victim of GBV, sexual abuse and violence. You can call that number. They'll have all the necessary resource that they can guide you towards, and that speaks to finding a shelter near you. Speaks to locating the local GBV desks at SAPS near you, and other resources that you might require for yourself and your children, especially if you are trying to put in place an escape plan. And I think that's the other thing we never talk about when we talk about GBV is we never really have time to talk about that escape plan and everything that must be considered before a victim can safely extract herself and her children out of the situation. And probably we must have that conversation over the next coming days. We're going to take a quick break, and then we come back at the top of the hour with the 2 o'clock news with Usbahle. Then on the other side of that, we'll take Kids Corner and let you know what is happening with the Madlanga Commission.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio drama series Skyline.
Such cockpit medical emergency now.
Cabin crew to your stations.
Where the skies promise adventure, but behind the cabin doors, untold secrets are found.
Signing off on cheap parts they installed like it's nothing.
Catch the radio drama series every Saturday at 9 p.m. on SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za.
Thank you, Bridget. On the top stories, Meyiwa trial adjourned and Mashazi admits to Mkwanazi's irregular appointment for SAFM News. I am Ondalambana and a very good day. Police have confirmed a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and being investigated after 3 men were removed from the High Court in Pretoria during the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial today. The trial has adjourned till tomorrow to allow counsels to deal with the new developments. The men were seated in the public gallery inside court. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says the men have been attending court proceedings with the intent to eliminate key players in the Meyiwa case.
The SAPS can confirm that a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and has been under investigation for a number of weeks in relation to the Senzo Meyiwa trial. The SAPS has received solid intelligence that there are a group of individuals who attend proceedings with the sole purpose of looking for an opportunity to eliminate key role players on the side of the state. The SAPS has taken a group of individuals who attended proceedings this morning for further questioning and profiling. Security has been heightened and intelligence is on high alert.
The motion of no confidence vote against City of Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has been withdrawn. The motion was brought by smaller political parties within the Joburg Council, including Al Jama, UDM, and the African Transformation Movement. It had been scheduled to be heard during today's council sitting in Braamfontein. The KwaZulu-Natal government says it has made major inroads in combating disruptions by the construction mafia over the past year. Public Works and Infrastructure MEC Martin Meyer says 12 months ago there were 60 disruptions at private and government construction sites per month. He says by working hand in hand with the police, it has now been brought down to only 10 disruptions per month. Mayor says hundreds of extortionists have been arrested. He says he believes they are on the right track.
Our working together with legitimate business forums who wants to work with us, who denounces violence, has been working. Our approach of going to communities early in the process already and getting them involved in our projects so that they take ownership, helping them make sure that they get the 30%, training them to be bricklayers and roofers and all those things is working, because now the communities themselves chase these guys away and said, no, we're already benefiting. Why are you not coming to disrupt here?
Retired CT manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi has admitted that Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi's appointment as acting police chief was irregular. The appointment from Mkwanazi to act in the position in the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department was made in May last year. However, Mashazi has explained herself, stating that she was on leave and therefore not the person who approved his appointment. Mashazi's evidence before the Matlanga Commission is being led by Advocate Mahlape Sillo.
I just want to test, are you aware of the principle that when you are on leave and you delegate your powers to somebody, you retain the responsibility for actions exercised in your name by that acting appointee? Are you aware of that principle?
I am aware.
On the basis of that principle, are you willing to accept the responsibility for this, what now appears to be an irregular appointment?
I do accept.
That's good news for Itala depositors who have been unable to access their funds from the institution since January 2025. National Treasury has announced that it will make up to 2.2 billion rand available to enable the repayment of Itala bank depositors. This follows consultations with the KwaZulu-Natal government. The payout process is set to begin on Monday next week. FNB, which has been appointed as the bank that will make payouts, will reach out to Itala recipients via SMS. Recipients are not required to open a bank account with FNB if they do not already have one. Itala recipients have until 2028 to get their money back through this process. Recapping the top story, police have confirmed a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and being investigated after 3 men were removed from the High Court in Pretoria during the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial today. I'm Wandela for SFM News headlines at 2:30.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Atlas Lionesses of Morocco and Mzansi's Banyana Banyana return to the battlefield. The rivalry between the North and the South continues. This is the international friendly. Witness the spectacular encounter between Morocco and South Africa this Tuesday, 2 December at 7:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello, friends, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to another fun edition of Kids Corner. Today, we're talking about something exciting: parties and good manners. Since many of us get invited to parties or celebrations, it's important to know how to behave respectfully and enjoy the day. When you are invited to a party, what are some good manners you should remember while you're there? Why do you think it's important to bring a small gift when you go to someone's birthday party? How can you show respect to the host and other kids at the party? And if you were hosting a party, what are some ways you would make your guests feel welcome and included? What should you do if you feel left out or if there's a disagreement at the party? How can you handle it politely? All right, friends, let's chat about how to make every celebration kind and memorable. But before that, let's hear from some of our friends.
My name is Guru and I go to Mokoli House School. When you are invited to a party, good manners that you should always remember while you're there are that you cannot just walk around and go into any room whenever you want to. Also, you cannot try to control any aspect of the party, from the food to the music, especially if you're also a guest, unless you have been put in charge of something. I think it's important to bring a small gift to someone's birthday party because you can't just show up to someone's special day and make them and their parents provide you with everything when that person should be the one receiving the most. You can show respect to the host and other children at the party by being friendly and respectful to everyone and making sure that you're inviting at all times. If I were hosting a party, I would make my guests feel welcome and included by making sure that there are tons of activities for us to do and by allowing everyone to give a suggestion for a game, a song, or anything they want to do. If you feel left out or if there's a disagreement at the party, you should most probably approach the party host or their parents. You can handle it politely by asking if you can join in a certain activity or by approaching someone and having a friendly conversation.
Hi, my name is Danica Wood. Good manners to remember when invited to a party could be remembering to greet, saying please and thank you, being polite, and respecting and following house rules. Bringing a small gift when you're invited to someone's party is a kind gesture, and it is respectful and shows that person that you care. You can show respect for everyone at the party by being polite, greeting, and including other kids in games or conversations. If I were a host, I would make people feel welcome by greeting them warmly and making sure that nobody gets left out of anything. And I'll make sure that there's something for everyone. If I were left out, I would probably try speaking to the people and asking if I could join them and try not to make a big deal about it. You can handle it politely by not yelling and not causing a big scene over something small and by trying to be respectful. Thank you.
My name and surname is Pego Chempembe. I prefer celebrating my birthday with my family at a nice restaurant, eating a delicious meal. I love it the most when I have a chance to hold my cake with everybody singing happy birthday to me. It is so exciting if I am invited to a birthday party. I always bring along a gift. I am always acting the same. I don't behave different at all. I attended a party last month and everybody behaved the same. However, everybody was happy and excited. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Lorraine Moyo. When I get invited to a birthday party, I usually come with a gift to show how much I care and so that I don't disappoint my friend. I don't think that there is a reason to behave differently when I am not at home. So I, myself, when I go to birthday parties, I am always polite and well behaved, and that does not have to change when I am at home. The last time I was invited to a birthday party was in October for my old friend Rose. Everyone behaved very well on that day because they did not want to spoil Rose's day. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Karabo. When invited to parties, I think it's important to remember good manners, such as cleaning up after yourself and being kind towards other people and being mindful of what you say. I think it's important to bring small gifts to someone's birthday because it shows your gratitude towards them and how important they are to you. Some ways I show respect to a host or other kids at the party is being kind and respectful and like making sure that I'm not perceived as someone who would just misbehave in the presence of um other adults around or other kids around. If I were hosting a party, some ways I'd make my guests feel welcome and included is introducing everyone and making sure that they get along because I feel like it's important to have an icebreaker game so that people feel more welcomed and are able to socialize with other people because some people may be closed off because some people
maybe scared to talk to them or maybe nervous. What I feel should what I would do if I felt left out or there's a disagreement at a party is I'd just raise it up to whoever's hosting the birthday party and tell them how I feel about what's going on. And if it's something where I've raised the issue and no one is regarding my feelings, I feel like it would be respectful for myself to leave. How I would handle it politely is just speaking to whoever is in charge and make them understand how I feel without being rude to them. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you, friends. It's December, the season of sunshine, joy, and celebrations. This is the time of the year where families come together, school closed for holidays, and many of you will receive invitations to birthday parties, Christmas parties, family gatherings, and fun end of the year events. With so many celebrations happening, it's the perfect moment to talk about good manners, kindness, and how to make every party a happy experience for everyone. When you are invited to a party, remembering your good manners is the first step to being a respectful and thoughtful guest. Greet the host with a warm smile and a thank you for inviting me, and make sure to be polite and gentle in their home. Using kind words like please, thank you, and excuse me helps create a friendly atmosphere where everyone feels welcome and appreciated. Bringing a small gift is another lovely way to show respect and gratitude. It doesn't need to be expensive. Even a homemade card, a drawing, or a simple gift shows your friend that you care. A small gesture can carry a big message of love, friendship, and appreciation. At the party, it's important to show respect to the host and other children. That means taking turns, playing fairly, sharing toys or treats, and listening when adults give instructions. It's easy to get excited during celebrations, but staying kind and respectful shows that you care about making the day enjoyable for everyone. If you notice someone feeling shy or left out, you can brighten their day by inviting them to join in. Including others is one of the greatest gifts you can give. If you were hosting a party, you would want to make your guests feel welcomed and included too. You might greet them at the door, show them where to sit, help them join games, or offer them something to drink. Being a good host means thinking of others, making sure they feel comfortable and happy. Of course, sometimes things happen. Maybe there's a disagreement during a game, or you might feel left out for a moment. That's okay. December is full of emotions and excitement. If this happens, try to stay calm and handle the situation with kindness. You can politely ask to join in, suggest a fair solution, walk away from arguments, talk to an adult if you need support. Handling problems politely shows maturity and helps keep the celebration enjoyable for everyone. Remember, friends, celebrations aren't just about cake, gifts, or games. They're about friendship, kindness, respect, and making beautiful memories together. With good manners and a caring heart, you have the power to make every December celebration even more special. That's it for today, friends. See you next time.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
This week on BBC Primetime, watching TV could make you a winner. It's the BBC Primetime Watch and Win competition. Just tune into your BBC Primetime shows, answer a few simple questions on S3's TikTok account, and you could walk away with awesome prizes. From thrilling dramas to jaw-dropping reality shows, the more you watch, the more chances you have to win. Watch, answer, win. Only on BBC Primetime. Airs weeknights 9 to 11 p.m. on S3. Your couch just became the best seat in the game.
The Northwest Provincial Legislature Portfolio Committee on Premier and Finance, chaired by Honorable Nathan Oliphant, will conduct public hearings on Division of Revenue Bill and the Northwest Appropriation Bill on the 8th December 2025 at Moshana Community Hall in Gagamudrimolema District. Banquet Hall, Potchefstroom Room in Dr. Kenneth Kaunda District, Pudimong Community Hall in Dr. Ruth Somuzi Mumpati District, and Moretele Municipal Hall in Bujanala District. All hearings will start at 10. If you are unable to attend in person, you can join the proceedings online via Microsoft Teams by scanning the QR code provided in the advert in newspapers or legislature social media pages.
Oh, sadly, never let go what it could be. Baby, you got what I want. Oh, touch me. Baby, you got what I need. Ooh, love me. Do what you do with me. Please never let go. I love you. Stop me. Never to say I'm sorry. Loving you. Stop me. Never to lie.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Alrighty. In case you were wondering what is happening with our programming this afternoon, we did explain as we were heading into the top of the hour that we played by ear when we were broadcasting the commissions and the ad hocs live. And so the commission had gone into their lunch break later than their usual time, purely because we presumed they wanted to wrap up with Imogen Mashazi so that they could come back with suspended police minister Senzo Mkhunu. So we're just waiting on them to resume, and we didn't want to insert any kind of programming that would mean that we either cut that programming in the midst of our guests talking to head back into the commission or miss a few moments of the commission as we wrapped up our conversations, because former minister is such an important witness that's taking to the stand today. So we're going to head into the headline news quickly with Onda Lambana. And as I see from the corner of my eye, the commissioners are back and taking their seats. So after the headline news, we'll then go straight back into the Madlanga Commission.
Thank you, Bridget. On the news headlines, Gauteng Finance Amnesty Lebogang Maile has tabled an adjustment budget injecting 3.3 billion rand into the province. The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources has announced that fuel prices will increase from tomorrow, and police have confirmed a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and being investigated after 3 men were removed from the High Court in Pretoria during the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial today. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
All right. It is just gone 2:30. The commissioners have just sat back down post lunch at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And of course, we are anticipating that Minister Senzo Mkhunu is going to be seated now and be giving his statements and testimony. So we're going to head on back to the commission. And this is where we're going to leave it from our side. The next voice that you're going to hear will be that of Ashraf Gada as it comes through at 3:00 with the National Pulse.
With Minister Mkhunu this afternoon, but we already have a witness under subpoena for tomorrow. And we have engaged with Minister Mkhunu and his legal representatives. And the agreement is as follows. Minister Mkhunu will start this afternoon, and in the course of the afternoon, he will give evidence, his version of the issues, uninterrupted and unquestioned in large part by the evidence leaders. He will be testifying in this session of the commission strictly on matters pertaining to the PKTT. So when he does eventually address the commissioners, it will be on the PKTT. He has submitted a statement, and it's expected that to a large extent, it will follow what he has in the statement. We shall not be engaged by the evidence leaders. He then has to come back for the second day. But because of this witness that is already under subpoena for tomorrow, we have requested, and Mr. Mkhunu and his team have graciously agreed that after today he stand down to Thursday. So we'll interpose his testimony by bringing the other witness tomorrow, which is an EMPD-related witness. We believe that it can work and it shouldn't necessarily cause confusion, because we hope that Minister Mkhunu would have finished with putting forward his version of events when he addresses the question of PKTT, so that when we reconvene on the Thursday coming, then the engagement with the evidence leaders starts. If that accords with the commissioners, we propose that we approach the testimony in that manner.
And by engagement, you mean pointed questions?
Pointed questions by evidence leaders. As I say, today we will resist engaging him pointedly on these matters and to give him the opportunity to put forward his version on the matter. And I emphasize by the evidence leaders, because it is not my place to dictate to the commissioners how they deal with that. I thought just to share what the thinking is, and where in the Commission's hands insofar as that is concerned.
You say the pointed questions will start on Thursday, and my sense is that you are saying in the morning on Thursday.
In the morning, so we expect on
So-
Thursday to run the normal day.
So that means you are hoping that the evidence today on the PKTT will be completed. Is that the idea? I've seen, my experience here is that for a whole day, we take only about 12 pages of a statement. So unless you tell me that the minister's statement on the PKTT is around 12 pages, and that's the whole day, by the way. Now we
It
have
is.
only the afternoon, so.
Chair, in discussion with Minister Mkunu and his legal representatives, I put it no higher than to say it is a hope.
It is a hope. All right.
And to the extent that it is impossible to achieve, we will then have to contend with a rollover to Thursday, hopefully morning, to allow for a proper engagement thereafter.
Thank you.
And I'm not in a position to give any guarantees
No,
beyond that.
I understand perfectly.
Thank you, Chair.
I understand perfectly. Thank
On
you.
that score, Minister Mkunu is represented by Advocate Ngukaitobi SC, instructed by Mr. Sandile July of Worksmans. And if we may invite Advocate Ngukaitobi to place himself and his team on record. Thank you, Chair.
Please. Good afternoon, Mr. Ngukaitobi.
Good afternoon, Chair. Thank you for the attention, and your fellow commissioners, I greet them as well. My name is Tembeka Ngukaitobi. I am acting on behalf of Mr. Senzo Mchunu, the current Minister of Police. My juniors are Advocate Natalie Kezebutelezi and an advocate who is known to one of your commissioners, Advocate Mahotso Lengane. We are instructed by Mr. Sandile July from Worksmans.
Thank you, Mr. Ngukaitobi.
Thank you,
Might
Chair.
I add one point to my learned friend's preliminary issues? We have asked for an opportunity to re-examine. My understanding is that it's not objected to. We have arranged that it should be done if we exercise it on Friday from 2 p.m.
That's in order, Mr. Ngukaitobi.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. We are ready to lead a testimony of Minister Mkunu, and that will be done today by Advocate Lee Sigal Mnube. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Sello. Yes.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, the Minister will take the oath.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon to you.
Please place your full names on record.
My name is Senzo Mchunu.
Thank you. Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Minister.
Chair, if I could just ask the Minister to please bring the microphone closer to him and keep it on.
Please pull both if
Yes.
they are pullable. I don't know if there is such a word.
And Chair, you would
Towards you, Minister. I think I saw you pushing them away. Please pull them towards
closer to you.
you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, I thought that before we start the Minister's evidence, if he could just explain the reason why he has an earpiece in case there may be questions as to the reason for the earpiece.
Is it necessary? Is it necessary, really? Oh, yeah, please, then, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chair of the Commission and Commissioners. I've just have a slight problem with my left ear, and then I requested that I enhance my hearing. It's nothing abnormal, but for purposes of this commission, I wanted to pick up every word and ensure that I am with the commission.
I don't know whether it's me, Minister. Maybe I also need an earpiece then. It's a bit hard for me to hear you. I've heard every word though, but
okay.
I somehow have to strain.
I need to raise my voice when I speak.
Please, thank you.
I will do so, I promise.
Thank you.
Chair, they just want to assist the minister to increase the volume on his microphone.
Sorry, testing 1, 2.
You can switch it on, Minister. Thank you. Minister, you would have been provided with files in front of you marked 1 of 5 to 5 of 5. And the first file is 1 of 5, which should contain a statement. I just want to confirm that you have file 1 of 5 with you, in front of you. And
yes,
if you can confirm that from page 1 to 92 of that, that's your statement for purposes of your evidence
yes,
today.
I confirm.
And do you confirm the contents of the statement and the accuracy thereof?
Yes, I do.
Now, if we could start, you have the introduction section starting at paragraph 1, but if I could ask you to start on page 4, which is page 2 of the statement, paginated page 2, which deals with, if we can just orientate ourselves as to the pagination system, and then what you have in front of you. I will be referring to the paginated pages of your statement. On at paragraph 8 of your statement, you start dealing with your personal background and appointment as the Minister of Police. Prior to that, you have some introductory comments, but I would like for you to just briefly summarize your personal background and the events leading up to your appointment as Minister of Police, very briefly, please.
Thank you very much once more, Chair and Commissioners. My name is indicated earlier is Senzo Mchunu, and I was born at Hlabisa and went to high school, and then started working as a teacher a number of years, and then went to be full-time in the African National Congress in 1991. And after that, worked in other provincial structures, and then became MSc in 2008, and then Premier in 2013, and then 2013, the same year, 2013 to 2016. And then I broke from May 2016 and the whole of 2017. I was unemployed, and then got employed in 2018 in March by the African National Congress at head office. And then up to the elections of 2019, after which I got appointed as Minister of Public Service. up to 2021. And then on the 5th of August 2021, I was then appointed as Minister of Water and Sanitation, after which up to the general elections in 2024. And then post-elections, I was appointed by the President as Minister of Police.
And then
currently, I'm on leave. I'm on special leave.
And then in the introductory paragraphs, you deal with matters which you say at paragraph 4 and 5 of your statement. You say that there are aspects that you are not in a position to speak to. If you could just explain to us why you say you're not in a position to speak to those matters and what those matters are at paragraph 4 and 5 of your statement.
Well, I'm saying on paragraph 4, to start with, I'm not in a position to speak about operational decisions taken by SAPS members without my involvement or knowledge, in case there are specific matters that arise that fit in this description. I won't be able to speak on those, simply because as Minister, I don't necessarily direct, approve, or participate in operational policing decisions or activities like operations that from time to time police decide on wherever in the country. I don't deal with those. And any interference or suggestion that I played a role in authorizing or coordinating operational decisions, including who to arrest and where, and then raids, when to do a raid and not when to do a raid, and tactical deployments, who goes where, for what reason. Such insinuations are incorrect. It is for this reason that I'm saying I'm not able to speak on those. And in paragraph 5, several allegations placed before the Commission relate to communications said to involve me or my instructions, and I want to place on record that I didn't participate in any operational communication channels, nor did I use encrypted platforms for such alleged purposes. Then I address those matters in detail in subsequent sections.
Thank you, Minister. And then at paragraph 6, you then also deal with aspects that you say you don't necessarily have personal knowledge of those aspects, but you deal with them purely to assist the Commission with its factual reconstruction. Can you just explain what you mean by that at paragraph 6?
On paragraph 6, yes, the Commission has also been presented with extensive evidence relating to SAPS dynamics internally, allegations of criminal infiltration and conduct attributed to certain senior officials, including Lieutenant General Sibia. And my knowledge of these matters arose only after they became a subject of evidence. In other words, I'm indicating that there isn't anything that I knew or I know internally, or I know anything about internally in relation to criminality and so on, until most of the things came to the fore in the Commission.
So in other words, you don't have personal knowledge of them, you weren't involved contemporaneously in anything relating to that, but based on what you became aware of subsequent through evidence before the Commission or the ad hoc committee, you will deal with that insofar as it may assist the Commission in reconstructing its facts.
Yes.
Thank you. Then if we can go to the section where you deal with your orientation into the Ministry of Police, which is on page 6 of your statement, starting at paragraph 14. And just to place it in context, at this stage you had already had 2 stints as a minister. Is that correct? Before you joined as Minister of Police?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you just then take us through what the orientation entailed and when you actually took office?
Before I do so, as you instruct, I do want to indicate that through all those positions, that public positions that I have had the privilege to occupy, from MEC, Premier, ministerial positions, I have never been accused of corruption, not once. This is the first time that I get accused of such, as alleged particularly on the 6th of July. Now, the orientation that I'm talking about was the orientation that got organized in the main by National Commissioner, together with his deputies and other senior officers and subs, shortly after we got sworn in as ministers, and together with the deputy ministers that I serve with. So we met police management on a meet and greet basis, and we planned how the orientation would unfold. And thereafter, we started without any waste of time, from just shortly, I think within a week, running those orientations from July up to December. But I must add that we went beyond December, even though it was no longer just pure orientation. It involved some discussions, some decision-making. In fact, even during the period of orientation, because it would be repetitive in some cases, getting to other levels of matters, we would then have discussions and in some cases take decisions during orientation, broadly speaking. But where there was an opportunity, we would then narrow down on particular issues. And we proceeded then until December. And I would say that a little bit beyond that in some cases. Now, what we were dealing with in the main during those orientations, it was structural and organizational matters. And I should take it that it was logical that as new people, newly appointed ministry, we would have needed to know the layers of subs from national up to a police station, and also know the organization horizontally. And indeed, it was structural in nature in the main. Personally, I was interested on these matters because as soon as we got appointed, I had a sense that we would need to get into some of the challenges of subs that I had some distant understanding on, that were structural in nature, and therefore it was quite an opportunity for us to learn those. And there were particular dates when we would focus on a matter, like the 12th of June, 15th of July, the 14th of August, and the 19th of November, where in the main we're dealing with crime intelligence almost exclusively, and so on. Now, because of a number of reasons, it was during that period, during those discussions and engagements, when one of the things that we picked up was that the head of crime intelligence is also the head of National Political Killings Task Team at the same time. Now, I did engage a little bit with that particular matter as we picked it up, as we picked it during that time, saying that how did it happen? I was asking a question and made a comment or a remark that it possibly was oversight when that decision was made. Lieutenant General Kumalo was first appointed as head of National Political Task Team, sometimes known as PKTT. And then in 2020, that was 2018. And then thereafter, in 2022, he was appointed as head of crime intelligence. Now, we then passed that particular matter after picking it up and making commentary about it. But we also got to know.
Minister, sorry,
Yes.
please hold your thought. Don't forget where you were. I get confused. My impression is that you use the royal we. We, although you are referring only to yourself. But sometimes on the odd occasion you will use I. And where you are in a meeting situation and you say, we decided, I'm not quite sure whether it's only you that decided, you as the minister, after being briefed by those you would be with, or whether it was a decision of all of you, you and the other people with whom you are at a meeting. So I get confused between the royal we and the singular I.
Well, yes, I was, when I used I was making reference to the question that I asked during that meeting and those engagements, which I assume to be in the interest of all of us who were there, particularly the ministry, meaning the two deputy ministers that.
So must I understand we to refer to more than just you? So it's not the royal we?
No, it is just us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. And Minister, just while we're on that, at paragraph 15 of your statement, you refer to the participants in that orientation process. You say it's senior management of the police, and you identify General Masimola, and you say his deputy ministers, his deputies. So the National Commission and his deputies, would that have been General Sabia, Lieutenant General Sentimule, Lieutenant General Sabia, and Lieutenant General Musikiri?
Not exactly, not Lieutenant General Sentimule, but his deputies are Lieutenant General Musikidi, Lieutenant General Sibia, and then there's an acting general in support services, Lieutenant General Khua. Those are the three deputies. But there is then CFO, who is at the same level as well, as the deputies in finance. It's just that normally, when you talk about deputy national commissioners, you refer to the three, but she's actually there as well at the same level. So those are the people I'm referring to, but there would be other staff or other police officers depending on the matter at hand.
Thank you. And so insofar as you dealt with the dual role of Lieutenant General Kumalo, Dumisani Kumalo, and those discussions had arisen, who brought that tension up about his dual roles? Who was the person that raised that concern in the meeting?
I raised that concern myself politely, and it was a remark, but I considered it as a serious remark because I wouldn't have expected that that there would be that dual role, not necessarily because of the load and other related matters, but because of the role that intelligence, crime intelligence plays in the country, which I regard as a 24/7 kind of work, very, very critical in terms of assisting police in the fight against crime. And we were later going to discuss it as we did, identifying crime intelligence as the main enabler among other enablers in terms of assisting police to fight crime in the country.
Okay, and at the time that you had raised that issue, were you aware that General Sabia had also raised that issue with General Masimola, that he thought that General Kumalo shouldn't have that dual role?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you, Minister. You may proceed.
Well, we were also briefed about long-standing organizational challenges that predated our appointment.
On the top stories, Gauteng finance tables an adjustment budget and UK criticizes Gaza aid delays. For SFM News, I am on Delambana and a very good day. Gauteng Finance MEC Lebogang Maile has tabled an adjustment budget injecting 3.3 billion rand into the province. Maile presented the province's 2025 medium-term budget policy statement and the adjustment budget to the legislature earlier today. He says the province will continue to focus on protecting key social services.
As a means of equipping Gauteng provincial government to continue responding to the provincial imperatives underpinning the 2024 to 2029 MTDP and the G13 priorities. The total adjustment is 3.3 billion, which includes the rollovers, national and provincial funding.
The Department of Mineral and Petroleum Resources has announced that fuel prices will increase from tomorrow. Both grades of petrol will increase by 29 cents per litre. Both grades of diesel will go up by between 65 cents and 85 cents per litre. Meanwhile, illuminating paraffin will be nearly 1 rand more expensive, while liquefied petroleum gas will increase by 24 cents. The department spokesperson Robert Make.
The reason for these adjustments are the average Brent crude oil prices decreased slightly during the period under review, and the rand appreciated against the dollar during the same period. The international product prices of petrol and diesel were also affected by lower inventories ahead of the winter season in the northern hemisphere, as well as the planned and unplanned refinery shutdown in Europe as they prepare for their winter season.
Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has been placed on special leave, has now taken to the stand at the Madlanga Commission in Pretoria. Retired Goruleni City Manager Dr. Imogen Mashazi concluded her testimony in cross-examination a short while ago. However, before she could conclude, Commissioner Sesi Baloyi questioned Mashazi about the action she took against the EMPD's Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi, who unlawfully appointed 55 metro officers. But Dr. Mashazi told the commission that she could not recall if she took any action.
Say I do not recall. I withdraw nothing. I do not recall.
You don't recall what, Dr. Mashazi? Whether you did anything about it or not?
Exactly.
You don't recall?
Exactly.
On this very serious matter of 55 employees that have been promoted, your chief of police raises that very important issue, which has huge financial implications for the municipality, in addition to legal complications.
Police have confirmed a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and being investigated after 3 men were removed from the High Court in Pretoria during the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial today. The trial has adjourned till tomorrow to allow counsels to deal with the new developments. The men were seated in the public gallery inside the court. Police spokesperson Athlenda Mate says the men have been attending court proceedings with the intent to eliminate key players in the Meyiwa case.
The SAPS can confirm that a case of conspiracy to commit murder has been registered and has been under investigation for a number of weeks in relation to the Senzo Meyiwa trial. The SAPS has received solid intelligence that there are a group of individuals who attend proceedings with the sole purpose of looking for an opportunity to eliminate key role players on the side of the state. The SAPS has taken a group of individuals who attended proceedings this morning for further questioning and profiling. Security has been heightened and intelligence is on high alert.
The British government has criticized delays in aid being allowed into Gaza after more than 1,100 tents it provided took more than a year to enter the territory, the BBC's Nick Ederle reports.
The Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, warned the situation in Gaza remained dire despite the ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. And she added that the delay in getting aid into the Strip could not be allowed to continue. The UN Children's Fund, UNICEF, added that the tents were welcome to provide urgently needed shelter, but that much more aid was required.
Recapping the top story, Gauteng Finance Embassy Lebogang Maile has tabled an adjustment budget, injecting 3.3 billion rand into the province. I am Mondilambana for SFM News Alliance at 3:30.
In sports this hour, is about to learn his fate at disciplinary hearing today. Wadu backs Morocco to do well at AFCON, and Maxwell pulls out of IPL 2026 auctions. More details at 3:30.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk.
Are you looking for the best spectacle and sunglass deal? With Specsavers buy one, get one offer, you get great value for money. Get a free pair of branded single vision prescription sunglasses up to 3,300 Rand when you purchase a comprehensive eye examination and spectacle frames with lenses on your first pair. The best part? Choose from top brands like Police, Hugo, Under Armour, Tommy Hilfiger, Red Bull Specs, and more. Affordable eye care? Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
If you hang up after calling your bank, still stuck, still frustrated,